Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlisify, and I think this is the right video to go and ease into the Pokemon Sun and Moon demo, because after that drops, life will never be the same again. You know, we get a taste of that heroin, and then everything changes, because then it's just a month until Pokemon Sun and Moon actually comes out. So how long is the demo gonna last? That's a week, then we get more news, and then yeah, the game's out. So let's do a Junichi Masuda interview for right now. And this is an interesting interview covering a lot of different topics, you know, staying power, brand success, and keeping the series alive. So into the most ambitious game we have seen so far. Let's go and see what Junichi Masuda has to say. I have not read this yet, so it's going to be like a live reaction, which means I'm probably going to pronounce some things wrong and not read it correctly, but we'll see where this goes. So there are many variables in the games market that it's not easy to define why Pokemon has had sustained success. There's no doubt that the core elements of the game, collecting, battling, and trading, have a lasting appeal when it comes to kids, but the thing is that all of our games have in common is that we start by designing them for the younger audience and then add elements to our core players. This means that even people who have never played the game before can easily buy it and get stuck in. And I think that that is actually one of the reasons for the game's success and the game's criticism. Like, whenever you hear someone that's criticizing a new Pokemon game, I think this is more big when it came to, like, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and then Diamond, Pearl. It's like, it's just the same thing over and over again. You do Pokemon, the game's easier because we've played the other ones in the series. And I think that was a big one with like X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Like, a lot of people have played so many Pokemon games up to this point that the proficiency just means that the average difficulty in Pokemon ain't cutting it anymore. But it brought a lot of new players in the game. Like, X and Y felt like we had a younger audience than ever, and people were enjoying the game at all skill levels and all ages and all interests in Pokemon. So X and Y was a success in that way. Also, I think the core elements, you know, collecting, battling, and trading, I mean, that sells it for me. You give me any kind of game. Right now I'm just thinking like Trove and RuneScape. It's kind of like a market, but for Pokemon. In the end, you know, you're collecting things that builds up your strength. You're battling so you get to prove your strength, and then trading. I was more thinking like a market in that kind of way, like, okay, you're doing merching and stuff, but also trading Pokemon is a nice feature as well, so you get to share your power around, and then you get to go and slap kids that are not as good as you in Pokemon. What else is better than that? So yeah, I think it has all those good elements, you know, that you can really pursue the game for a very long time and still get new things. Like, if I want to make a team legitimately, I'm going to be working at the game for a while. If I want to complete the decks, I'm going to be working. Figuring everything out about the game takes a lot of time to collect and then work towards it. So I think that that's actually a big reason as to why people can stay sustained into Pokemon. Also because the characters are awesome. Like, you find the characters you love and then they stay iconic with you for pretty much ever. On why the brand success has with all ages. Oh, this might cover something. There are a lot of activities that can be enjoyed by adults alongside kids. Think about football, for example. Younger kids may not understand the more complex rules of the game, but they and adults can enjoy alike in seeing the incredible skills of real players. We're always researching these kinds of elements that can be appreciated and enjoyed regardless of age. I'm looking to add them into our games. I'm thinking this just kind of goes with EV and IV training. That people are saying that IV training or IVs are the worst thing to ever happen in Pokemon. In other interviews with Junichi Masuda, the IVs are a very crucial thing to the existence of Pokemon in general, because it's going to make every playthrough unique. That they're called individual values, that every Pokemon is supposed to be seen as an individual. That's why it has a nature, you know, it's a quirky Pokemon that happens to be strong in special attack and speed, and then you have to kind of play around it. Or even if you're a kid and you're unaware of these values, you're just going to play through the game and it might seem easier or more difficult depending on the luck that you have with the Pokemon that you encounter. Now, it starts getting skewed for the competitive scene, but at the same time, I think that that's where all these competitive players that are cheating and using hacks, that they are losing the spirit of Pokemon, that they are not true Pokemon fans by doing this, because you're going against the game developers, creators of the game, and also just the core values of what Pokemon has. And then like the incredible skill of real players, it just keeps going up and up, because it's like, alright, first there's EVs, like that, this is the progression. First there's EVs, then there's IVs, then there's like ultimate moveset optimization and synergy, and then team compositions, and then just kind of keep snowballing from there. I guess IVs can kind of be switched around with like team composition and stuff, but that was like the order I learned it in, is that I just like pumped up my Pokemon and I was like, wait a second, these guys can work together. On mixing the old with the new, actually I'm really interested to see what Junichi Masuda has to say about this. When you have a game formula that resonates so well with the fans, you need to cater for what they're expecting, as well as innovate in ways that will excite both of them for new players coming to the world of Pokemon for the first time. So, I mean, they will excite both them, the existing players, and the new players. Pokemon has been consistent in delivering a positive player experience over the past 20 years, and as such, seeing real nostalgia coming through for those who intended to play those who played the earlier version of the games. I think the fact that we've never overhauled the series and created a divide between old and new is one of the reasons Pokemon has enjoyed such longevity. I'm trying to think about it, and yeah, I don't think there's ever been like a big divide from the old and new. Maybe Black and White a bit, which is why there's like so many like dedicated 5th gen fans that hate 1st gen and a lot of 1st gen fans that hate 5th gen. I think that that's the biggest gap, because you could only find 5th gen Pokemon, and if the designs were off-putting to you, then it just didn't feel like Pokemon. And also just like the game mechanics, well, I wouldn't say the mechanics too much, but the storyline and all the directions they took in the game were kind of different. It didn't really play on the nostalgia as much as any other game. X and Y had fan service, all the remakes are hella fan service. Now we have Alolan Pokemon for that nostalgia value. So all the people that say like, oh, it's just some idiot that appreciates nostalgia Gen 1er, you know, kind of person. No, like the game developers, Junichi Masuda, he is on board with this idea that nostalgia is a huge part of Pokemon. Alright, I hope that Junichi Masuda stays consistent with this part right here on why the games remain on portable systems. When coming up with the idea of Pokemon, we really wanted to create with something where people could get together, have fun trading, battling, and showing off their Pokemon collection, just talk about their own adventures with the game. Handheld consoles offer us the best way to achieve this vision. Alright, I think that's a condensed version of it, because in the past, I know Junichi Masuda's talked about it trying to be used to replicate an actual adventure, that, you know, if you could actually leave your home and encounter Pokemon in the wild, well, that's going to be the most doable on a portable console, so it brings the Pokemon world to the real world in the best way, or in like the most realistic way. If I want to go outside to the park, sit down, play some Pokemon, it's like I'm in the woods, or I'm outside actually engaging with Pokemon, instead of in my dark, poorly ventilated, poorly lit room that, yeah, I'm just, okay, I need to get outside more. But the point is, handheld games are the way to go for Pokemon, which is why we haven't seen like this. We've only seen Battle Revolution or Pokemon Stadium, you know, we've only seen Stadium Fighters and not a full-on Pokemon game. I guess Coliseum does count, but it wasn't like a true Pokemon game. It was more just kind of like run through and get progressive battles and stuff, but it wasn't like the full exploration with a full region map and stuff like that. So I think that that's why we haven't seen it, that it's more of that mobile experience, that if you want to go out to a friend's house and play Pokemon, you can. You don't have to worry about them owning the console as long as you own it for your, or they don't have to own a big console. You know, if you both have handhelds, you're good to go. Even if they don't have a handheld, they can watch you play it, or you can share the game with that way pretty well. On having players important memories while playing. Okay, so let's see how the memories are established according to Junichi Masuda. We want Pokemon to be a means of communication. What I really want to do is connect with people, to then help them form great memories by experiencing these distributions in such certain places. I think of it as having a meal. By itself, a meal is pretty forgettable, but it can be hard to remember what you had for lunch yesterday. But if you go for a meal with a close friend at a restaurant you love, you'll remember the meal for a long time. I want to give people memorable Pokemon experiences with one another. Okay, Junichi Masuda, I just fell in love with you for like the 3rd time now. Or actually, I lost track. Because, okay, secret about Verlisify right here. I am a culinary nut. Like, I watch Food Network all day long. Alton Brown is my absolute favorite hero of all time. I actually sent him a question on Twitter and he answered it, and I like mega fangirled. But I love making food, and I have like personal recipes. I own a lot of recipe books. So, and I appreciate meals. I appreciate restaurant meals more than the average person. I look for those experiences, you know. I just don't go out, have a meal every other day or something, kind of take it for granted. I eat out maybe once every 2-3 weeks, maybe even once a month. But I'll go and actually spend like 3 meals worth on that and make sure there's friends around. I don't go out and eat alone. I make sure like that I have someone to go with it, because that I'm going to get more out of that than individual meals by myself, or also at like subpar places. You know, I want every meal to be fantastic, and just the fact that he compares it to Pokemon like that really drives it home, I think, for everyone, because everyone's had this experience, that the food experience is relatable, but then the Pokemon experience is relatable. You know, y'all had that neighbor kid that you'd go and hang out with after school or something, or you'd at least find ways that your personal memories become accelerated by something that happens. Even if you're playing by yourself, there could be something that you do to make it a little more engaging, and then those are the memories that you establish. You know, hunting for your favorite Pokemon for hours, getting that shiny, building your first competitive team, winning an X amount of battles, you know, making it as far in the battle maze on. There's a lot of things that can engage you that I don't think you really think about. Like, a lot of things that are taken for granted, but you can think back. Everyone has those Pokemon memories, either with friends or playing solo. That's like, wait a second, that was built passively, just like anything else in life. And that's kind of amazing that they're able to accomplish this so well when it comes to Pokemon. And then on being appreciative of fans. So let's see where this goes. What I'm most grateful for is that so many fans have supported Pokemon all this time. Without them, Pokemon wouldn't be where it is today, and Pokemon Go certainly would not have seen the phenomenal success that it has seen so far. I really love to get and meet and talk with Pokemon fans. They've given me so many great memories throughout the years. Recent example, I gave a speech Japan Expo in Paris. I was blown away that over 3,000 people came to hear it. Pokemon Go seems to have really resonated with people and a huge number of players all around the world. It's beyond anything I ever imagined, and that sounds about right. Also, I think that I think 3,000 people wanted to see Junichi Masuda. At this state of Pokemon, I think it's kind of to be expected, especially when you think about like Japan Expo. Everyone that goes to that probably wanted to be a part of Junichi Masuda's speech or something like that. Masuda also stated that the original soundtrack will have 175 tracks. Wow, and he's involved and created some of the most, I guess. Masuda says that thanks to today's hardware, his team can create almost any sound and tones we like. That means Game Freak needs to produce sound where same level of quality that you expect when producing a CD. So yeah, Junichi Masuda, he has been on the music side of things in a lot of the recent years, but I think that that is one of the things that also keeps taking this to the next level. You know, Junichi Masuda, he's been the... I made it all this way without too many screw-ups. I don't want to do it. He's been like the lead manager. Now I know Omori has taken that over with like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, but he has been like the game lead for a while. And then he also does music on the side. So I do really like that. And then everything else about Pokemon really coming through. So if you guys like this, you know, nice chill little video, seeing what Masuda has to say, pitching my thoughts, you know, you might have learned something about my culinary tastes and all kinds of fanciness like that. You know, before YouTube, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna work up to being a chef one day, and now I can just kind of be a chef for myself, and that works out pretty well. Also, I feel better cooking for others than cooking for myself. Like, if I want to make food, sometimes I just won't unless I have friends over or something like that. So those are all things to consider, and then it's just building those memories and creating memories for others. I think that's that. Okay, that's the thing to take away. Create memories for other people with Pokemon Sun and Moon. Do it like that, you know, like if you're the person getting treated to dinner or you're the one that's invited, try to bring people in that experience and make the most out of it for everyone, and then Pokemon's gonna be awesome. Even though it already is. So if you guys did enjoy the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.